disrupted.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. So we have to start off the show with obviously the developing news that's still circulating, and we're still getting information pouring in. But this is what happened. It's one of those stories where it's going to be, where were you at the moment when Trump was shot at? And regardless of how you feel about the former president and the election and putting your politics aside, it is a horrific story. It is a horrific story, no matter who the person is. To just witness this kind of story is heartbreaking. It's traumatic. I deeply feel for the people that were involved in this. You know, the victims, the people that are traumatized being at this rally, and of course for former President Trump himself. I hope for a speedy recovery, which he seems to be at this point, depending on where you're watching this. So it was a very, very interesting scene that happened at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is a small town in rural Pennsylvania state, where Trump was giving his usual rally address, and this broke out. So this is a scene. This is from NTD News, reporting that Secret Service agents rush in to former President Donald Trump off the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday, July 13th, after his what sounded like a series of gunshots. And it has been confirmed that Donald Trump did get hit by the gunshot. But luckily, and call it fate, call it a miracle of what happened, Donald Trump, during his speech, moved his head ever so slightly. So the gunshot, which looked like it was about to aim for his head, kind of trickled off his ear. So it could have been a lot worse in this situation. But this is the moments unfolding here. Watch this.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Now, I do have to say, in commentary to this, because it's hard to comment on a situation like this. It's obviously emotional times to really dive into something like this. But I do have to say, for the sake of the crowd, at a time like this, it is kind of miraculous that when this shooting occurred, when the shots were fired, the crowd kind of, obviously reacted, but it wasn't like a stampede going through the crowds, like bumping each other, dogpiling each other, trying to escape. So it is noteworthy to say that the crowd kind of seemed almost like poised that this happened. Obviously, they were frightened. Obviously, your instant reaction is like, oh my God, what the hell's happening? Could I be next? But it's not like a swarm. And I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if people did it out of instinct. I don't know if maybe it's just because it is America and this seems to happen so commonly now that people are just kind of numb to the situation. I don't know what I could say, but that's kind of extraordinary that the crowd was just kind of reacted to it, but reacted to it in a not a insane kind of stampeding reaction, if you will. But That was obviously horrific to witness and to be part of that rally, to have that trauma unfold by this. So they narrowed down the suspect to this guy, Thomas Cooks, who was a registered Republican who donated to a progressive PAC as they found this information. His classmates say he was aggressively bullied in high school. He wore hunting gear and a face mask long after COVID. What radicalized him to attempt to assassinate President Trump. So MSNBC was obviously at the scene about this. This is the guy there. Thomas Matthew Cooks, 20 years old, from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which I believe is the next town over. I could be wrong on that. But it's very interesting that they're releasing this information of the fact that he's a registered Republican, but then donated to a progressive PAC in 2021, a $15 PAC. Like, it's kind of very interesting to note that information about the shooter. And the fact that this is a lonesome 20-year-old, it makes me raise my eyebrows a bit. And you'll see why in a second.
I want you to listen to a little bit of what he told us about what he knew about the suspect.
He was bullied almost every day.
In what way? Can you explain?
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're gonna see someone like that and they're gonna target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
So, lonesome 20-year-old, bullied through high school, was able to obtain a firearm, get into a political rally of a former president, which, if I know a thing or two about political rallies with former presidents, or just any sort of event with a former president, it's heavily guarded. There's Secret Service, there's CIA, there's agents around, surrounding that area. This is the former president, by the way. This is a guy who has Secret Service in his Rolodex. This is not a rando at a shopping mall. This is not a rando person in some sort of public space. This is the former president. So, I call me a kook, call me a conspiracy, call me, crazy with my tinfoil hat a little too tight here. But doesn't this seem suspicious that a lonesome 20-year-old was able to get into this rally unnoticed and have an assassination attempt on Donald Trump? Doesn't it seem at all suspicious? Doesn't it seem at all kind of familiar, especially after witnessing the cases of kidnapping the Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer? Remember that story? Remember those people that were involved? They were lonesome individuals that ended up getting codified by the FBI to do this action. Kind of in the same ballpark. And here's some more interesting details to this, because this is not unnoticed, if you will. So here's a guy here who was at the rally, who was about to explain to CBS News after this incident that they warned Secret Service. They warned the Secret Service agents that there was a shooter nearby. They were warned countless times. Well, why was nothing done about this? But here's what this guy said.
I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around and was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got
Was
him
there only
up
one
on the
person
bench.
shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person?
I thought it was far.
So that was one witness mentioning about how the shooter was able to get in and do an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And here's another person. This is BBC News getting coverage from a spectator here. And this is a tweet by End Wokeness saying, breaking, eyewitness tells BBC that he informed police himself, Secret Service, about a suspicious man on a roof with a rifle. So, again, let it be clear. This is a political rally with a former president who has Secret Service surrounding the area in a small town in Pennsylvania. This is not Manhattan. This is not Los Angeles. This is not downtown Chicago. This is rural area outside of anywhere, Pennsylvania. This is a small town, Pennsylvania, and you're telling me that the Secret Service was informed about this lonesome 20-year-old who got onto the roof of a nearby building and attempted to assassinate the president, former president.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely.
So, spectators in the audience were able to see clear as day this guy getting onto the roof, probably with a ladder, climb up there, do a bear crawl across the roof with a rifle. Spectators pointed this out. But no one in Secret Service, no one, was able to witness the man approaching with a rifle on a roof. Again, call me the conspiracy nuts that I am, but this seems way too all suspicious. This seems like something I've heard from countless times that the FBI, the CIA, the intelligence agencies, the Secret Service, and the rest of the establishment have ployed together with. This seems like something directly out of their playbook. And we have seen this numerous times before, from January 6th to the attempted kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, to the Boogaloo Boys attending the gay pride parade. We have seen countless times where federal agents and intelligence within the establishment kind of cultivize these young, mentally unstable people into their shenanigans, into their games, into their ploys, into their agendas. So it seems way too bizarre for a just rando person to get onto the building and try to shoot the president, former president. Really, at this point, after all this, Trump pretty much won. They might as well just call the election at this point.
We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes, Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes?
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
Binoculars.
him? Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone...
So, this is the tell-all of all this. That spectators in the audience, in the crowd, warned police. They warned the Secret Service. They obviously saw this guy. Again, to reiterate, this is a small town in Pennsylvania. Very small town. There's very few high buildings that this man, this 20-something-year-old lonesome kid, was able to climb up and access and bear crawl himself with a rifle to do an assassination attempt on Donald Trump without the Secret Service knowing. So, if law enforcement, again, this is heavily secured, this is heavily guarded. If they knew about this, his point exactly, why wasn't Donald Trump escorted right then and there? Why was there no security lockdown? Why was there no reaction before this? If people in the audience could see clear as day this man that's coming, the people in the audience are trying to stop this shooter. People in the audience, not Secret Service, not law enforcement, where your tax dollars are supposed to be paid for security, but people within the crowd were trying to stop this shooter from doing what he did. So again, this is all prey-telling. This is all kind of suspicious. And I've seen this too many times before to make me believe and swallow down the bullshit narrative that the mainstream media is trying to poison on this. They're trying to say that Trump did this to himself. I kid you not. The mainstream media is trying to poison this as some sort of mega extremist, right-wing supremacist kind of Trump stunt. And I find that so goddamn hilarious. The fact that anyone with a working brain cell would believe that story. Because if anyone had a working brain cell and listened to that narrative, the first thing I would have thought of is why the hell, if this is a stunt by the Trump campaign, why would they try to assassinate their own person? Wouldn't they be trying to go after Biden and Kamala Harris? That makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. But this is how stupid the mainstream media gets. Because they don't want to tell you the full story. Because the full story seems a way bit more suspicious. It seems like something that we, individuals have thought about for the last how many years that they've been trying to take down Trump ever since 2016. And they just never want to admit to it. They never, ever want to admit to it.
When the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy.
Absolutely.
I don't know if did you hear the BBC reporter? You might want to be careful what you say there because I don't know who might be watching this. Is he saying that to the viewers? Or is he saying that to the intelligence agencies that are monitoring the news channels to making sure the official story is pushed? The official story. Not the factual story, but their official story. The story that they want to go with. And not the fact that the Secret Service had some sort of connection to allow this to happen. And if you want to call me this deranged conspiracy cuck or some sort of wacko with his tinfoil hat a little too tight, look at recent historical events like this and pinpoint all the similarities between the kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, the January 6th coalition, the Minnesota riots of Black Lives Matter. There were undercover cops. There were FBI agents posing as civilians. They have done numerous times. Again, this is a person that the establishment have wanted to take down since 2016. The same person that they have failed to do impeachments on, that they've tried to trump up trials against him, that they tried to smear his campaign. That's where Russiagate came from. The massive amount of times they've been trying to cancel and get rid of this guy, and they couldn't. And now here we are in 2024. He's running again. He's in full popularity, and ever so much, because look at his opponent. Joe Biden has 0 to nothing of any working brain cell to win this campaign. Donald Trump seems to be in the sturdiest lead to win the presidency, and they have to come to last resorts. And that's not me saying that. That's other analysts and journalists that pointed this out, as we'll show later on. But the fact that spectators saw this guy go up to the roof with a rifle, and the police and the Secret Service were warned about this. Very, very, very suspicious. This is not a lonesome act. This is not some 20-year-old who didn't decide what political party he was in. This was some sort of coordinated effort. And they will never tell you exactly the details of this. This is going to be another JFK-style conspiracy that probably in the, next 80 years, by the time I'm dead and your great-grandkids are maybe still alive, then maybe we'll finally know what happened this day. And that's why BBC News, being part of that establishment core, is telling that guy, hey, careful what you say there, because you might have eyes and ears listening to this. You might be the next. So this is Revolutionary Blackout Network. They pointed this out, saying, nobody can convince me of the official narrative of the Trump assassination attempt. A faction of the establishment tried to kill Trump, and they have failed. So then he links to this video here. So this is the Secret Service from the building directly across from where the shooter was. And like I said, it's a very small town, small venue, very kind of intimate situation. They have it all surrounded, but yet somehow this 20-year-old was able to get a ladder up to a building and bear crawl with a rifle to try to assassinate the former president. And watch what Secret Service does directly across from where this killer was. So this is 7 minutes and 21 seconds before the shots were off.
That's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the...
And there it says, already looking down the scope, 42 seconds before the shot. So they see him in the purview. They see him down the scope. They have complete awareness of who this guy is. And yet nobody attempts to stop this guy. No one tells Donald Trump to get off stage. Nobody informs anybody, not even the people in the crowd, that there's a intruder at this rally with a rifle and he's about to shoot someone. No one is informed about any of this. But you can clearly see the Secret Service has dead set eyes on him. They're looking directly at him. They have him in the crosshairs. And they don't do anything. They don't do anything.
The government services comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
They didn't take the shot. They didn't do anything. They let even when he first fired, they walked away. They didn't stop this guy. They didn't stop this guy. But people within the crowd who directly saw this guy were trying to stop him. This is just wild. This is just wild. And I can't believe that in this day and age, like I said, go throughout all the stuff in history. Go look up the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping scandal. Go look up January 6th. Go look up all the stories that we have covered where the FBI and the CIA and the three-letter intelligence agencies try to cultivate together to pose as ordinary citizens to do fuckery like this. This goes without saying that the establishment always does stuff like this. So it's not conspiracy theory. It's not, tinfoil hat kookiness. If you still want to call me that and go with the official slurred narrative of the mainstream establishment, shove that down your throat, be my guest. But I know this is suspicious. I know this is crazy. That there's no way, no logical explanation that somehow a 20-year-old who was apparently bullied in high school, some, rejected 20-year-old, was able to climb up a building with a rifle unsuspectedly and try to shoot down President Trump. Who, by the way, if he did not looked at that screen, it could have been a lot worse. And this is how a lot of people are saying that Trump is like this prolific god, if you will, on trying to detect these things. That if Trump did not look over to the screen there, he was showing about immigration. If he didn't look over the screen, that bullet would have went up here, but instead it caught him in the ear. So he is lucky. He is fortunate. He is grateful. And like I said, regardless of how you feel, like put all the politic BS aside for a second and put this in a human perspective. The fact that there was an assassination plot involving many people within the crowd is horrific. It's terrifying. It's disastrous. It's crazy. It's cringeworthy. It's insane. And what's even more insane is the responses after this. When the reports came out about this, the never-Trumper crowds, the anti-Trumpers, the Democrats, the Keith Olbermans and the Rachel Maddows and the Nicole Sullivans of MSNBC, they were all trying to cheerlead this. They were all trying to cheerlead and joke about this. This is how gruesome those people are. How empty, immoral, disgusting, empty vessels they are. That even after a violent attack like this, regardless of how you feel about Trump, even after that, they still want to politicize it. They still want to put a victory lap around the fact that, wish it was a lot worse. Oh, they almost got Trump. They were applauding this. They were cheerleading this. Disgusting, vile creatures. As Alex Jones would say, they're, lizard people, but I don't even think they're lizard people because lizards, reptiles, have better consciousness than these people. They are sick, twisted, psychopathic, immoral, inhuman, disgusting, vile creatures. Why would you ever applaud a violent act like this? Why would you ever? Do you have any morals? Do you have any standards? Probably not, because that's why you do the job that you do. That's why you're so good at lying to the general public and then sleep good at night in your penthouse. You sick, twisted. Oh my God. It was the worst disgusting thing ever. Was to see vile people like Keith Olbermann cheering this on. Wishing there was a lot more bloodshed. Wishing that Donald Trump actually got the full bullet. How goddamn awful that is. So then there's even this, and I'm gonna I want to leave off at this point. We're gonna get further along into the story, but this is another thing to mention here. This is from Milk Bar TV, and they put this video together saying, "Watch the real-time assassination attempt on Trump from different angles, with the countdown from footage of people warning authorities about the shooter to Trump being whisked away." And again, this is the things that make me a bit suspicious about the situation, because you're in a rural area of Pennsylvania, very small town, very highly guarded by Secret Service and law enforcement. They were warned about this, but look at how long it took for them to respond. Situation.
If he was doing his job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with a gorgeous ocean. The
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And son of here.
So people are pointing this on their cell phones, showing law enforcement, showing Secret Service. And you saw earlier, Secret Service had them in their scope. They clearly saw this kid. They saw this 20-year-old with a rifle attempting to assassinate the president, and they did nothing. Nothing. In fact, when the shots rang out, they held back. Secret Service walked off the building. This is where your tax dollars and law enforcement are going towards, folks. This is what your security you get paid for. Unbelievable.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look.
And it's
There
not
he is.
easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. And it's much tougher.
The people are yelling at the police officers. He's right there on the roof, right there. This is not downtown Chicago. This is not a skyscraper. Like, people are seeing directly. They're pointing at their cameras. They're pointing right at the guy. And they do nothing. Law enforcement does nothing. Secret Service does nothing. You would think that after someone tells you that they would have security detail escort Trump off stage, escort the people off the podiums, off the stands there, and there would be some sort of security protocol in effect. You would think that would be the case, but they didn't do anything. They didn't do jack shit, which makes this very all suspicious, to the point that I feel like that 20-year-old, that disenfranchised 20-year-old, was set up by people within the law enforcement, people within the Secret Service, people within the CIA intelligence agencies. Because when have we ever saw that before? It's very uncommon for the intelligence agencies to pick up some disenfranchised people, give them a bunch of weaponry and some money, and tell them how they got to roll out this secret agenda and do these unbelievable ploys onto the rest of humanity. It's out of the ordinary for someone like that. It's out of the ordinary for the CIA, concerning the fact that the intelligence agencies have vendetta on Trump because Trump calls them out. And as Chuck Schumer always said, he told directly to Donald Trump that you don't want to mess with the intelligence agencies because they have 9 ways a Sunday to take you down. So this seems all too familiar. This seems all too suspicious, all too familiar from what other cases we have seen. And the fact that still 48 seconds in of this footage, people are pointing this out. They're yelling, they're screaming. There's a guy on the roof with a rifle. Do something about it. They don't do jack squat. There's Secret Service agents on the other side directly looking at this kid crawling up the roof there. They're not doing anything about it. And then the shots get fired and they retaliate. Secret Service walks away. They don't engage fire with the kid that's engaging fire.
It happened. You went on the roof ever. In recorded history, we're the best border. In fact, if they could ever put up a chart, I don't know if they can do it. Do you guys have access to that chart that I love so much? You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring, I try and explain that. Oh, there's it. Wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something,
so there's showing all the different angles. We're like 2 minutes in. And look at this. All the different angles. There's cops there. They're walking on by as people are yelling at them that there's a shooter on the roof. There's Secret Service on the right there, directly across from where the shooter is, staring directly through their scope. They got him on the crosshairs, and they don't do jack shit. This just seems way too suspicious for me to believe anything that the mainstream corporate media is going to spin this towards. And right now, they're doing the dumbest way possible by trying to blame Trump for this. They're saying that this is some sort of attempt on Trump, some sort of ploy for Trump. That somehow Trump set this up. It was a game, a charade. Why would Trump do this to himself? He's already way ahead in the polls. He's getting more popular than ever. You've tried to impeach him how many times? You try to lock him up. You try to arrest him, trumped up with charges. You've tried to cancel out his entire campaign. Since 2016, you've been trying to get rid of this guy. Why would Trump, if I believe any of that narrative, why would I believe that Trump would do this to himself? You dumb idiots. How stupid, how retarded do you think we are? That we're going to sit there and take this crap when I see forehand that they're the Secret Service and the law enforcement and people surrounding that area that are supposed to secure that area, not just for Trump, but for everyone that's attending that rally, failed to do so. Why is that? Why aren't they getting questioned? Where's the accountability for them? Where's the names of the Secret Service agents that failed? Purposely failed that day. Why are they not releasing that information? Because they're on it. They're all in on it. There has to be some sort of connection. There's no way in hell that they're just, too oblivious to take down a 20-year-old shooter. And there's no way in hell a 20-year-old shooter, like, by the way, that has to be a really incredible shot. Like, you have to be some sort of marksman, military-grade shooter to go from where he was on the roof to try to get Trump and got him by the ear. That is a hell of a fucking shot for a 20-year-old. Again, this is getting way too suspicious. This is getting way too suspicious, way too cringeworthy, way too crazy. I almost feel like I feel like doing one of those Alex Jones rants where I'm just like ripping my shirt, demanding that we engage in, just, I don't know what I can make of this. I really don't know. Like I said, this is still developing. There's still details being bring to detail for this. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And like I said, this is a horrific day. This is absolutely a catastrophe. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. It's emotional. And I, send my thoughts and prayers to the people in the crowd. I send my fullest positivity for, the Trump campaign, for a speedy recovery, which seems to be the case now. He seems to be, doing good right now after this scenario. It's traumatic. It's so traumatic. And I can't believe that even in a situation like this, even as daunting and darkening this situation is, and maybe there's some sort of, again, there's maybe some sort of connection to all this and further in detail and what we're not being told about this. But I can't believe people still, even after witnessing that, still want to cheerlead the assassination attempt of Donald Trump just on the fact that it's Donald Trump. Just on the fact that it's their political adversary. And if anyone out there that does something like that, they are garbage. They are fucking garbage. And you really, really need a slap in the face. And get some damn morals. Get some damn values. Reassess your entire life. You soulless piece of crap. Anyone that cheerleads for this, anyone that's supportive of what just happened here and says that, I wish it could have been closer. Oh, he was off by any of that stupid crap. You're done. You're done. You're dead to us. That's how pissed off I am. Even for someone like Trump. And I'm no fan of the Trumpster myself, but who in goddamn hell would applaud an assassination unless you are an empty, immoral, disgusting, vile piece of shit? And you know who's doing that right now? It's the top media analysts of the mainstream networks. You see Rachel Maddow saying stuff like that. You see Keith Olbermann. You see Democratic donors. You see all these anti-Trumpers. That the only reason they're anti-Trumpers is for their careers. They don't actually disagree with Trump. They were actually buddy-buddy with him when he was starring The Apprentice. But the only reason they're anti-Trumpers is because of their careers. And now they do something like this. I cannot believe that. And it's people like that that fundamentally disgust me in society. It's just absolutely... I don't have the words to even say how pissed off I am seeing that stuff. But I want to show some of the coverage here to let people know that we're going to be looking more and more into this. This is going to be, it's going to be one of those things that we're going to be looking into months and months and months on end. Probably this will never end. This story, this coverage, because they're going to try and cover this up as much as possible. They're going to try to spin it in opposite directions, even though we are seeing firsthand that Secret Service, law enforcement, intelligence agencies, people that were supposed to secure that area, deliberately failed to do so. It's not a mistake. It's not by accident. It definitely looks like something was set up. And the fact that this 20-year-old loser somehow was able to get up on a roof with a rifle, as people pointing this out, yeah, it seems way too all suspicious. And considering all those factors, plus the fact that they've been trying to take down Trump for such a long time. And the impeachments didn't work. The trumped-up charges didn't work. The squashing of his campaign didn't work. The delegate insiders they were trying to throw into Trump to mess him around, that didn't work. Raid Mar-a-Lago didn't work. After, 99.9% attempts have failed, what's their only solution? What's their last resort? They're going to try and JFK him. And this is the failed attempt of it.